I'm going to my happy place real quick.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on the live-action remake of Disney's Snow White. The original Snow White has "and the Seven Dwarfs" in the title too. I think this one took the Seven Dwarfs out of the title.
Listen. We don't want to focus on dwarves here.
We're very ashamed.
No.
Yeah, it's just Snow White.
It's about her.
Disney Snow White.
This is all about her. No one else.
Yeah, we did point out though there are a lot of like real life actual dwarves in this movie though, people with dwarfism, and I was jokingly said maybe they cast 7 of them to try to counter the problematic. Anyway,
Listen, if we go back and count, maybe we'll find some more.
God. So yeah, what needs to be said? It's a Disney live action remake. It's starring Gal Gadot.
A movie
Gadot,
everyone asked for.
Rachel Ziegler, who openly talked about how shitty the original one was.
What great marketing.
Very notably, isn't white.
That doesn't pose an issue.
They write around it in the movie.
They had to.
Which I didn't think they would. I thought they'd just be like Snow White because reasons, but they're like she was born in a snowstorm. So we named her after the snowstorm. Like you would, like yeah, this is my daughter Sunny Day, or this is my daughter Tornado Warning.
Yeah, these are solid names here. You laugh, but these are the greatest names of all time. Listen, no.
Like, why Snow White? It's not a real name. Why wouldn't you name them something like, I don't know,
because the snow
Elsa?
Was white.
Like, we were gonna name her Blizzard, but when we flipped her upside down, she fell out of the carriage, so we couldn't call her that.
You know what? We never heard what the family name is. Maybe they're the Whites. So they just named her Snow.
Snow? That's a terrible name.
She would have been Sunny Whites or Tornado Whites, but she's Snow Whites.
I think they were on cocaine when they named her, and that's why they went with that.
It's a long trip by carriage, man. You gotta deal with something like past the time. But no, like I didn't think about it going in, but it makes a lot of sense that they have to come up with something else because
they didn't have to. They could have just cast somebody else.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna keep her, they have to.
Yeah, like I don't know why they did have to. So they and
diversity.
I don't care. Like when they made Haley Bailey play. Or Halle Bailey, whatever her name is, play the Little Mermaid. I was cool with that. I didn't care. Everybody was like, oh, how can mermaids be black? They're never in the sun. I'm like, who gives a shit? But Snow White's whole thing is that she's white and snow. That's stupid.
Yeah, I've always felt that racially swapping characters is most times way less of an issue than people make it out to be. I feel like people are very hyperbolic. I get not liking it. I'm not a fan of it either. I find it very lazy. But
yeah, make new characters.
Yeah, exactly. Raise up the characters you already have. Marvel and DC, you bastards. But still. Static Shock, you motherfuckers. But still.
Yes! That was like my favorite superhero as a kid for like 2 years because of that show. That show was so fucking good.
Oh, he's just sitting there.
And then he was in Batman Beyond, but he was like older and cooler now.
Yes!
Oh, make that... And Batman Beyond, by the way, not that he's a black character, but make that into a movie already, goddammit.
No, we gotta reset. We gotta keep going with some more Batman people, Who's the next Robert
Pattinson? Let's bring the Joker back again.
But it's like you use her and you kind of have to come up with it. Like, I get it. I don't like the racial character swapping. It's fine most times, but when a character is very distinctly written about their race,
yes.
Like this is why it doesn't really work for a lot of black characters. I always hear that argument when people are like, "Well, why do you care about race swapping?" And someone snaps back, "Well, would you like if like Black Panther was changed?" And it's like. It'd be kind of weird because he's like the king of this African country that's entirely black.
However, when we do get around to making that Ryan Gosling MLK movie, though, I will be first in line.
Please. I'd watch it.
The Danny McBride Kanye movie. Kanye asked Danny McBride to play him in a biopic.
Oh my god! I was literally just watching The Righteous Gemstones. Shit's crazy.
Oh my god! But yeah, no, it's like. I don't have anything against Rachel Ziegler as an actress or frankly, as a singer, her voice was great. I had no idea. Gal Gadot also surprised me as not being a terrible singer. Not that she was kind of talk singing, but there was a couple of notes she hit. Probably had some auto-tune in there to help her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounded fine. But Rachel Ziegler as a person always seems to say the wrong thing. First of all,
It's just an absolute marketing nightmare.
everything she says, she's like, I don't know. I guess she just never had PR training or something. Everything she says makes her sound dumb. And you're like, just don't talk. Just don't. But yeah, so I don't have anything against her, though, as a talent, you
Right.
know? But yeah, and like I said, I don't care when, like, because Little Mermaid... Ariel's a ginger, so she has to become black. That's just the rule. So, like, I'm trying to think of any other, like, race swapping things. Like, it was funny, too, when they made Starfire black in the one TV
It's
show.
the
It's like,
gingers.
well, what? Also, if you read the comics, she looks black. Like, they style her after, like, she's stylized after an African-American looking person.
Yeah.
It was in the Teen Titans TV show that they whitewashed her, and then they returned her back to form. But, like, normally, I don't give a shit.
The Starfire thing didn't bother me at all. I was just a little more annoyed that they weren't even going to try to make her orange a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, she's got orange skin.
Sure.
Like, come on. This isn't a racial thing. Just put some paint on. Is that too much for you guys? I get it if it is, but like that would have settled the whole shit right there.
That was like a CW show, though, wasn't it? Or who did that? Was
HBO
that
Max, I think?
Okay,
Yeah.
well, Max has enough money to do that.
Yeah, CW I would have understood, but
Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean,
it just doesn't work when somebody is so their character is so written tied
it's
to their
yeah.
not just their race, but like every aspect about the character, and it's just
Like, if you made Mulan white, it would be just as dumb.
it
You know,
would be out of shit, but I'd see it.
Last Samurai, or The Great Wall with Matt Damon. We need white samurai because we don't care about Asian samurai around here.
And I get it with Snow White. It's only brought up at the beginning, skin is pale as snow or whatever. But
Her being white is like the whole.
I know
thing.
it's pretty out right in your face.
It's certainly much more iconic for her to be white, or more important for a character to be white than to have that dumbass fucking haircut. But they still gave her that shit. They cut her hair off like this was the beginning of Rapunzel or something. It was like, why the fuck did you do that? Like, or ending of Rapunzel rather. But like, why? Like, the beginning of this, throughout the movie, they steal from other Disney princess movies. Like, they're stealing
was pretty
from
funny.
Cinderella, they're stealing from Rapunzel, they're stealing from Sleeping Beauty. It's like, get your own fucking movie. What are we doing? They make clothes dance around by, like, birds are carrying clothes. I'm
Yeah.
like, that is Sleeping Beauty.
Not
I
anymore,
guess,
it's not.
frankly, even in Cinderella, they carried clothes.
Listen, Disney just like that sort of thing, I guess.
It's so bad.
But it's like I get that her race really doesn't matter for the rest of the movie, but it was just it's kind of her
It's the
thing.
name.
It's kind of her thing. And then because it is her thing and you want to replace it, you have to come up with, hey, she's more of the snow.
Yeah.
So, white. Snow is white.
And also, speaking as somebody who hasn't dated a white girl since, like, high school, Gal Gadot is just prettier than Rachel Ziegler. She is.
Yeah.
She's not my type, but, like, objectively, Gal Gadot. And then, well, okay, if we're being honest, the whole thing is a misunderstanding, I think. Because she keeps asking who's fairer. She's not asking who's prettier. She's like, am I fair? And he's like, not really. She's fair, though. It's on her locket. She wants to be fair to the people.
You see, fairness is outer plus inner beauty, right? She's got negative inner beauty, so that just drags the outer down. So,
I guess.
Right?
And also, the mirror does say near the end, it's just like, hey, she might not be that pretty, but it's the inside that counts. It's like,
Listen, she's prettier than you when we talk about these insides, too.
like, he doesn't say that, but he's like,
Basically.
you may be hot, but her beauty is on the inside. It's like, oh, so
You can never take that away.
So you're just like, she might not be much of a looker, all right, I get that, but she's really nice. It's like, damn, all right.
Have they already done a live-action Princess and the Frog, or is that coming, or something?
Probably not coming anytime soon because there was supposed to be like a spin-off TV show that they just canceled. So
It's just amazing that,
they got rid of all the DEI stuff since Trump came in.
Listen, what's
That's
so
a
deep?
joke. I'm not racist.
Listen. It's just amazing to me that once upon a time they understood how to really promote diversity, making an
Yeah.
original story that people loved.
That's
Listen,
not even that long ago.
no, it was. It was like 2009 or something like that. It's around. I don't know what it was, but
When did Disney's The Princess and the Frog come out?
black people loved that movie.
2009. Damn, you nailed that.
Thank you. See? We
Yeah.
know when people actually care about the diversity.
I've said before, also, by the way, that, like, Atlantis changed my life. That along with Road to El Dorado, but that's not Disney.
El Dorado.
That was a 1-2 punch in like 2000 whatever, and I just went, all right. I thought I was into white blonde girls. I was wrong. My life has been changed.
Shell changed many a life.
El Dorado, but also Kanagashnaga from Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this diversity when it makes sense or when it's
It's so lazy when you want to race swap rather than take a chance in creating an original story or taking one of your other less popular IPs and trying to actually make a good story out of it.
yeah.
We can see that. We hate the pandering. It might win over some kids, for sure.
Well, I don't think the kids notice
kids-
or care. But, you know, that was something that, like, somebody brought it up recently on Twitter talking about, like, the Lilo and Stitch. Nobody watched Lilo and Stitch going, oh, they're pandering because 90% of them are Hawaiian. It's like, yeah, it's in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Also, they gave them realistic-looking body shapes, which is great. But then you turn around and, like, in the remake, which hasn't come out yet, but, like, I don't know how well you remember Lilo and Stitch, but in it, there's the gag about the guy with the ice cream that like
Yeah.
keeps falling down. The gag is he is a tourist who's extremely sunburned and is just there, really fat,
Right,
lazy,
right.
whatever. In the remake, they changed him to a local and gave him like shaved ice instead of ice cream because I guess that's more of a local thing. I don't know.
Probably.
Never been to Hawaii. They don't want us there, so stay away.
You Howley.
But like the whole thing is like the joke was that he was a dumb tourist.
Right.
By changing him to be a local, it's not diversity, you're missing the point.
But listen. If we called him dumb and fat, that might hurt people's feelings. And these movies can't hurt feelings.
I don't think that's why they changed it. I think they just changed it because they went, all right, who's in this movie who's white and that we can make not white? I will say though, as far as trying to not offend people, the whole thing with, once again, I don't know how much you've been paying attention to Lilo and Stitch, but the
Little bit.
aliens cross-dress, or at least one of them does.
Yeah, I
Beefy
remember
does.
the skinnier one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a joke. Not that he's cross-dressing. I mean, that's part of it. But
This
the
is part of
joke
their
is
persona-
that
identities.
they're wearing human clothes to try
Yeah.
and blend in. It's very obviously not working, or it shouldn't be, but it is.
Right.
And the new one, they've got like this button they press that like it changes how they look, so they look like actual humans, and also they're both males. And it's like you missed the joke. This isn't. It's more sensitive because I don't think any trans or cross-dressing people or anybody in any sort of community was offended by that joke to begin with, but you're so afraid of offending people that you get rid of actually what some people are calling representation.
Yeah, I don't remember if they like really cracked any offensive jokes about the community. It was just part of the gag. I remember he was doing it through the TV show too. It was just
Yeah.
their personas. He dressed like a woman, the other guy dressed like a man. They kind of seemed like a pretend couple at times.
Yeah, and maybe he
Who cares?
enjoyed dressing like a woman because he felt more comfortable that way, and
you
that's
know.
representation.
That would have been interesting.
Yes.
But how does that go over in China?
Who gives a fuck about
Disney does.
I know they do.
They took John Boyega off the main poster. Yeah, for the Chinese poster. I remember that. I don't put anything past these companies of pandering to the largest movie market outside of America. Or maybe just in general. Depending if you get that.
It depends on the kind of movie, but
Yeah. I don't put anything
The
past
highest
them. This is
grossing-
why we don't trust the representation when you just swap characters. Because you don't fucking care. You just think it'll work for money. It's annoying.
what he said. All right, so
We didn't even talk about this movie yet.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. So all that aside, problematic and dumb shit aside, is the movie good? No. The movie is one of the worst movies I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Hey, at times I felt it was so bad it was good. Not all the way through, but
Not all the way
at
through.
times.
Mostly boring. And I would give it a 2 because normally that's what I do because I reserve 1 stars for So Bad It's Good. So I give 2 as like the worst, but I will give it a 3, a generous 3, because a couple of the songs actually weren't bad. Honestly, the first couple of songs, as annoyed as I was that they were there, I went, all right, this sounds kind of like The Greatest Showman, kind of ripping them off a little bit. One of the songs kind of sounded like they were ripping off Wicked, but like, but you're ripping off good things, so it sounds okay. And like I said, Rachel Ziegler, good voice.
She could definitely sing.
She can sing.
Yeah.
Made some weird facial expressions sometimes, but she could sing. Everything else sucked. Everything. The costuming sucked. The CGI sucked. The story sucked. The pacing sucked. The editing sucked. The music that was good in the original but changed for some reason in this to have completely different lyrics or meanings or lengths sucked. The romance sucked. The villain sucked. the guards sucked. Just everything sucked in this movie. See, that's okay. Making him black, no problem with that.
No one cares.
Who gives a shit? Because he's just a dude.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with his character.
This is one of those movies I genuinely cannot wait to do a drunk review of, because this is one of those movies that it's designed to be a drunk review, and I will spend half the review apologizing to how harsh I was on the original, because this movie, it's not just, oh, it's a shitty remake. This movie, if it was not Disney, if it was not Snow White, if you took all of that out, this is still one of the worst movies ever made, because the plot makes no sense. The character motivations are dog shit. The politics that they try to ham-fist in here are so asinine and stupid. Every character's a moron. Everybody is poorly acted except for Rachel Ziegler's okay at times, but the directing's so bad it doesn't really matter. By the way, Mark Webb directed this, and how the fuck did he direct this and also direct 500 Days of Summer? I don't know. But this movie is so bad in every way. It is... I had a rule that I wouldn't go see to review the Disney live-action remakes because I didn't want to give them my money. And I broke that rule because I was just I wanted to see this so badly. But I think I need to put the rule back in place. I don't think I can keep doing this to myself, man.
It was probably for the best. I had no plans to ever see any of these Disney live-action movies. I was dead set against the idea of them. I guess we did point out that we saw 1001 Dalmatians back in the day. But
1001, damn.
101, whatever.
There were a whole lot of dogs.
Yeah. That's what it should have been.
But see, that was back when they fucking gave a shit. Like, that, Maleficent's not great, but at least they were trying. Yeah. Like, there was a Cinderella one that nobody ever really talks about that's okay too. And so it's not like they're not in essence or by design like a cash grab. Like, they can be good. They just usually aren't. Especially now they're not.
They really don't care. And as much and I think they really live for these ones where they can put a lot of CG in it nowadays. Yeah. Call it live action anyway.
Yeah, fucking Lion King doesn't have any live action in it.
And you know what? How many more of those movies are we going to get? A whole franchise, maybe.
Brother.
We got Mufasa. Now we're going to have to get Lion King 2. Maybe we'll get Lion King 1.5.
I hope not. Keep these things sacred.
I hear they were more emotive in Mufasa.
I don't give a shit, dude. Lion King is like the best thing Disney ever put out, and then they're like, how can we shit on it?
That movie was such a disappointment. I was so annoyed that my mom wanted to see it.
Disappointment. You can only have a disappointment if there's expectation.
That's a good point, yeah. I did know they would be stiff as fuck going in. I only saw that.
Just like me watching the Rodilla Ride. We're going to get into spoilers now, because it's required to continue tearing this apart.
I think the only thing we spoiled was like how she got her name,
which is the first 30 seconds.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Which I was kind of hoping I was going to miss the beginning of this because I was running a little bit late, and I didn't. And I'm so glad I didn't, because that was the funnest part of the movie. So we're getting into spoilers now. So if you, for some reason, don't want anything spoiled, don't go watch it. Just continue living your life as if this movie didn't exist in your happy little world. But if you do want to see it, why? we're sorry for you, but come back and we can talk about it then. All right, spoilers. God damn. So, yes, as you alluded to, there's one good joke in this movie, and I know this has existed long before this, but for me as a kid, the first time I noticed a movie being so bad that a very mediocre joke becomes hilarious because everything else was so bad around it. I call this the Shrek the Third principle, because in Shrek the Third, that movie's so unfunny that by the time Justin Timberlake goes, the only thing standing in your way is you. Me? Get 'em, boys! That's the only funny joke in the whole movie. It's not that funny, but when everything is so painfully bad, a mediocre joke becomes great. This movie had one where, for some reason, all these bandits, and if you're confused right now because you didn't watch it, there's a lot of extra characters in this.
Of course, we had to tell all this extra story of her rise and
did not have to.
reclamation of the
have
kingdom.
to is the wrong term.
Listen, we couldn't leave her the damsel in distress. All right, it's a new age,
She still had to get saved.
but she
didn't
also
actually do
did
anything.
saving. You know, they saved each other multiple times.
She didn't do a whole lot of
She
saving.
lured those people away for a while, at
And
the
then
risk of
came
herself.
back, so he got shot.
Listen,
She undid all the good she did.
They were trying to formulate a plan together. They forgot the first rule of having people chasing you. You got to run away sometimes.
Go away.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get distracted, the joke being you've got all these people over for the dance number. You know, they dance and
It's the
Grumpy's
dwarves and
supposed to be doing his butt thing on the organ. They cut that out.
We got the dwarves, we
twerking
got the
before it was
bandits.
famous.
whole party, man.
And so they've got these people over, and then they're like, "All right, we need to leave before the bad guys find us."
Yep.
And so they're all leaving, and the guy's carrying like 8 soft pretzels. Goes, "Well, thanks for having us." And if you're going, that doesn't sound funny at all, you're probably right. You're probably not wrong. That's how bad this movie is. Is that little moment of joy probably saved my life. I may not be alive right now.
I was worried, man. I was chest compressions.
Oh, God.
I wasn't about to do the mouth to mouth, but no.
No,
Gonna have to leave him there.
Kiss.
No, that ain't happening.
Dude, I didn't cry. But I was so depressed during this movie at certain points because like they take these songs, like I'm not hugely nostalgic about the original Snow White. I like it,
Yeah.
but there are moments that I'm nostalgic for, and that is because growing up, you know, we had like the like Disney soundtracks and stuff, and so there were certain songs, and like my sister would play them on the piano and stuff too. So like the Whistle While You Work, or like the It's Off to Work We Go, or Home from Work We Go, whatever, those songs they're iconic, they're great, and they just add random verses into them and different lines, and I was so like, I didn't think this movie would hurt my childhood, but it did. It really legitimately like kicked my inner child in the face.
I'm shocked you didn't think it would.
Because I didn't think I cared. I found out I cared.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't really care about the songs. I just rewatched it again for the first time in like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about most of them until I started hearing them again, but they did butcher the hell out of them.
They
They didn't want the songs. They wanted a couple of concepts from the song and some very famous lines for people to point at the screen and go, "Ooh, I know that thing."
Yeah, because like, so I know you just watched it today, but if you don't remember, the It's Off to Work We Go song is actually often misquoted because the first time they sing it, they're going home from work. So it's Home to Work We Go, or no, it's
Home from work we go.
From Work We Go.
Yeah.
And so I assumed that's what they were singing when it started. I wasn't paying enough attention to know
They
if
did at the end.
They
Because
did at
remember,
the end,
it started
but
with them going to
That's what
work,
I was about. That's
and
why
they
I
were
brought
singing
it up.
with that.
It's like, why are you singing this and then you're going to work? It's backwards. So They
Right.
sang it wrong.
But then at the very end, when they're
Then
going
they-
back
yes.
from work, they started singing the right line at the very end. But they
so they
had to lead us in, I
they,
guess. For
they
some
go
reason.
to work, so we get to see them at work, which we get to see they have magical hand powers,
my God, this scene was crazy.
which never fucking comes back.
Not a single time.
Because when they did it, like, and it was the right head concept, but like I was wrong, but like, because you see, if they put their hand on a rock, they can see the line where all the jewels are. Like, you
Right.
can see Yeah. And then when Dopey does it, it lights up the whole cave because he's got extra powerful powers. And so you're like, oh, so that's going to come back later. And it doesn't, but you do find Dopey is a recurring thing where he's more important than everybody else for some reason.
And we'll get to why in a split second,
Yeah.
but I didn't think that he had more power than everyone else. I honestly thought it was just the power of them all together. Now that they're all doing it, they can light up the whole thing or whatever.
I don't know, it was dumb. But anyway, so you see that and you're just going, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it was.
And then they throw in these verses in the middle where they're singing about something random, like working or whatever,
Yep.
but then each one has to say their name in the sentence. Like, they're like, oh, I'm happy. And they all go, we know. Or, I'm sleepy. We know. Or, he's bashful. We know. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Why did we do that? It's so bad and uncreative. And then, randomly in the middle, then, like, they cut back to the real song because it's a completely different tune at this point too, and then they randomly cut back to the real song where we dick 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 dick, and I was like, that's the beginning of the song and we had skipped it and now we're back to it. What are we doing? It was so painfully bad. And then, you know, it was much publicized, but like they switched the lyrics to the cleaning song where like she's like, you do this, you do that, you do this, and I'll use the broom. They say, and you'll use the broom because women can't clean. And it's just like, it's so dumb. The things they change are so pointless.
Hey, she cleaned in the beginning. She's teaching them how to clean. You know the saying, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. She's teaching them to clean. They'll be self-sufficient when she leaves them one day. I thought it was hilarious that she couldn't just... I literally, when the scene started, because like I knew they were going to change the lyrics, but I didn't know about that change to the lyric. I just thought they were all going to do it together, and it was just a team effort while she's staying at the house. And just not do the animals, because when she showed up, they didn't have her just clean right away, because that would have been, you know...
Sexist.
Yeah, that would have been sexist. So she just goes straight to sleep.
Women be cleaning. You know what else is weird about the animals, since you brought them up? It's not that Snow White's special, it's that the animals are special. Because, so you see in the original Snow White, when she's at the castle, she's singing to the birds and they're singing back to her, and she has a relationship with every animal she comes across. That's not the case. It's not until she goes into the magical forest and the magical animals then talk to her. Not literally, but like they interact
They understand
with
her completely.
And it's like, so she's not special then. She's just a person. And they constantly do dumb stuff in this where like they're changing the things. Like in the original Snow White, when she runs into the woods, she's scared and so she visualizes the trees as being alive.
Right.
In this, they just are. And it's like, why?
And like, I assume...
And then, hold on, there's mini tiny, like, lightning bug sized fairies that never get talked about. They just see them and they're like, ooh, magic. All right. And then multiple characters do that. Ooh, fairies. And then they don't do anything.
No, they're the fireflies of this world. But yeah, no, I assume that all the wood stuff is supposed to still be in her head, but there is nothing to indicate that at all in
I
this.
think the forest was just magical in this version. Because they say it's a magical forest. My dad always told me that there's a magical forest. We never explored it or did anything in it, but he said the forest is magical. Like, what the fuck? Everything they say is so dumb in this.
So I guess there's a dark section of this magical forest and then a light section where she's good and all the animals. I thought it was funny that when she...
There's also an ominous red light coming from somewhere in the forest.
Oh yeah, it was just like... It was just like blood red sky or something like
for
that.
For no reason,
for
like 30 seconds.
It's just a blood moon out.
And then it's daytime.
Yeah. But I mean... It got eventually daytime in the movie too, but like it was a lot quicker of a transition here. It's just
everything right there was quicker, which is crazy because they drag out so much other stuff. But it's interesting because like in the original, the reason she goes into their house and immediately goes to sleep is because she's been on the run for like hours and hours and then had to trek across the woods because the animals are like, oh, we'll help you, we'll take you to this cabin. And this, they're like, the animals are like, hey, stand up, cabin right there. And she goes, oh, cool, cabin. Makes a weird like orgasm face and then falls asleep. What the fuck was any of that?
But like when she shows up at the cabin in the film, if I remember correctly, she cleans right away, right? I think. She goes
Maybe,
in,
yeah,
notices
yeah.
how dirty it is, decides
Assumes they're children,
Yeah.
and so
She'll
proceeds
clean
to
for them.
take care of them. It's not because she's a woman and sexist shit. It's
No.
because she thinks she's helping somebody in need because that's her whole character.
right. And she's like, if I clean for them, maybe
If
they'll
you
let
don't
me
understand
stay.
that, you don't know Jack.
But-
Go to Jack Del Rio's car.
I thought it was hilarious when she stumbled out of the woods and it turned to daytime and the animals came out. Because she didn't ask them for help at all. They just instinctually knew she needs to go to this cabin.
Yeah, they're magical animals.
They seemed magical enough in the first one, understanding her every word perfectly. She said, "Do you?" It's like, what is it? She was distraught in the woods at first, crying. At least in the original film.
Yeah. Well, she
Then-
had a little bit of this.
Yeah, fine. But then she startles the animals. Come up to her. She startles them at first. She perks up a bit, says she's gonna be okay, but she doesn't know where to go, and she asks them for help, and they show her to the cabin.
Yeah.
But
Because she's Dr. Doolittle.
they're just so much more magical for that one moment. Never really again. They're around. No, not Dr. Doolittle, but the
Oh.
magical animals in this movie.
No, they also, when they see the evil queen dressed as a hag giving her an apple, they also run to go get
But they did
help.
it in the first movie too, so am I supposed to be more impressed with this one?
Yes.
See, they knew how to act in the first scene without being asked.
They also know how to growl like a bear until you see them in the light. And little deer. Also, there was just screaming. Every time the queen was around, you just heard like a woman screaming. I was like, what?
Just everybody was going to the dungeon. She spent a lot of her time in the dungeon there. You know, somebody screaming, somebody getting tortured off camera. I love how she had the huntsman dragged away, and her last words were, "Let his screams rang throughout the castle." And then when we see him again, there's nothing been happening to him at all. He's just I've just been chilling here. They just locked me up. I guess they forgot about me.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Just don't
tortured.
do a
but-
lot to you at all. Yeah. It's funny how, like, low budget this movie felt despite having such a massive budget. Like, the CGI, clearly, they put a lot of money into the dwarves
Yeah,
because they had to redo them.
I thought that was the funniest shit. Weren't they using like regular people at first, and then that got controversial, so they decided
They said they weren't going to use dwarves.
Yeah, and that was
then
controversial.
they filmed it with real dwarves, and then they CGI'd over top of the dwarves, or something like that. It was like multiple steps.
I
to the
thought
process.
at one of those steps they decided, oh, I guess we'll just use 7 people.
Yeah, that was the original idea. I don't
Human-sized
think
people.
they had filmed
Or,
that yet.
Not human
though.
size, that's wrong, but like
Wow.
adults. Yeah, fuck me. I know. I'm talking on the fly. Average adult size. My bad. I apologies
Yeah,
to the community.
I think the original idea was to not use dwarves at all, but then that was controversial. I don't think they had filmed anything yet. So then when they went to film, they used like dwarf-sized people,
Yeah.
and then at a certain point, like somebody said something. I don't think it was Peter Dinklage this time, but somebody said something.
No, I think it was.
Maybe it was. Said that's offensive, and so they went, "Oh, sorry," and then CGI'd over top of them. So there was multiple steps. Anyway, yeah. So it's weird how because the sets are pretty bad at times, or like there's just different things where I made fun of it. So when Dopey goes in to wake her up.
We also haven't talked about Dopey yet either.
There's so many things to talk about. I don't even know if we have enough time. But he goes to wake her up, and then she goes like, "Oh," which makes him freak out.
Yeah.
And as he's freaking out, you hear him running around the room and cluttering and banging and stuff. Instead of showing that, we show her eyes moving around the room like you would do in a low-budget movie, where you can't show anything because it's too hard to animate. It's like, what are we doing, Disney?
Saving a little bit of money, man. $200 million, all right? It could have been 225, but, we
one
stayed on the
scene?
eye. I don't know.
Also, it was funny. I mentioned to you that, in the original one, there's all the beds, right, in the room.
Yeah.
And then she pushes 3 together and sleeps on that. In this one, they're just already next to each other. Just Dopey, Sleepy, and one other guy are all canoodling at night, apparently.
Yeah. It's how you keep warm, man.
There's no
Paving
heating.
it up.
But yeah, let's get into Dopey. Actually, I mean, it is Dopey is harped on the most, but it is all the dwarfs. The problem is in all the dwarfs. Because
Yeah.
she goes, "You're grumpy, but you're not really. You're just misunderstood. You're sleepy. Oh, it's because you've got what is it, narcolepsy or whatever? What is the term? Is that
Yeah, narcolepsy is when
It's
you
like,
just pass out.
Oh, I thought he just slept when he got scared. No, it's because he's got yada yada yada, and it says the full name.
Yeah, I don't know the full name.
And
of
it's
it,
like, what are we doing? And then it's like, I thought like, so immediately you find out Dopey's not dumb, which, by the way, ruins the character because the character's supposed to be funny. And he's not funny at all. Like, they try to do some cute stuff where he puts in the diamonds and stuff, and he's knocking stuff over, but it's never because he's dumb, and it's just that there's no comedic timing, there's nothing funny about it at all. So then you're like, all right, he's not dumb. And then you realize, oh, they call him dumb because he can't talk. And you're like, oh, that's actually an interesting way to rework that. Like, and it's like commentary, but it's not over the top, it's kind of tasteful. That's interesting. And then she goes, oh, you can't talk? And he goes, eh. And it's like, oh, you can talk, you're just afraid to. And you're like, oh my fucking god. So then she teaches him how to whistle.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, her instructions for how to whistle is to blow, not like blowing out a candle, but just to make it move or something.
Yeah, just to make it flicker, but
just
not
to make
blow
it
out.
flicker, and you need to press your tongue to your teeth.
Behind your teeth, yeah.
I don't do that. I don't do that to whistle at all.
My tongue is technically behind my teeth. My tongue is always behind my teeth, technically.
Unless I'm like,
Yeah.
But yeah, my teeth are not closed. My tongue is not touching anything. It's just floating.
Floating in the wind.
And then he, of course, then has to talk.
Yep.
So he does.
Of course. I
And
mean,
says, we're not afraid. We'll do it for you, Snow White. And then you find out he's also the fucking narrator.
that was an all right touch. I didn't.
No, it
I didn't see that
wasn't.
coming. Compared to the rest of his storyline here,
That is the most dog shit, bullshit, fucking stupid shit thing you can do.
I don't love it, but it was better than the rest.
I hated it.
But I swore, and I'm a little disappointed they didn't. I thought they were gonna rename him because Dopey. I thought Dopey was gonna be like an offensive nickname after, because like they said,
Yeah.
he's that because he can't talk, and it's like, oh well, you're not actually Dopey. You're. I was coming up with
Smart
so
ass.
many. I was like
call
brainy,
him smart
bravey, strongy, speaky, speakeasy,
No. Even they're not that dumb.
whistly.
And they were fucking dumb. But they were
I swear
that
to
dumb.
God, I thought they were gonna name him. All right, someone was like, "No, okay, we gotta cut out a little bit here." Which is,
Yeah.
no more Bravey, no more.
This is just one of the
Couragey.
worst movies, like worst written movies. Like the amount of cliches, the amount of predictability, the amount of stupid
I mean,
shit.
we all knew where it was had to go from her interviews.
I'm not just talking like that though. I'm talking like lines. Like, they goes like, and I actually was joking on this one, but she goes, instead of, because Snow White refuses to kill the queen. We haven't even gotten to her death. We'll get
Oh
there.
yeah.
But like, she goes, leave now. And I go, and never come back. Like fucking Gollum, like Smeagol. And then she says it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You're fucking quoting Lord of the Rings right now?
But that's the line.
Why? It's so dumb.
And never come back. Banishment, man.
And then also, like, he's talking, like, so for the most part, for the first section, for the first hour of this movie, we're following the original story. We're adding stuff, changing stuff, but it's following the same trajectory. And then we're an hour in, and this movie is almost 2 hours. The original one's like 70 minutes, so there's like 10 minutes left of plot.
Yeah.
And that's when they completely just say, fuck it, throw caution in the wind, and completely change. And at this point, she goes and has a song number with the prince guy, who's not a prince, by the way.
No, he's just the leader of the
Jonathan,
bandits.
or whatever.
He's Prince Charming of the people.
Yeah. Anyway, and I swore they were gonna say Prince Charming because he's like, you just seem like you want some sort of knight in shining armor, and she goes,
Yeah.
you're no knight in shining armor. I was like, and you're no Prince Charming
Exactly.
either. And she doesn't fucking say that. I'm like,
That was the
But anyway, he goes like, oh, I don't have time for your princess problems. I don't have time for anything. And I'm like, and I said to you, except for this song. And right when I say that, he started singing. And I'm like, ah!
Yeah, you did literally time that one up to the second.
Oh!
That was good on you. No, like I absolutely knew at one point in this movie, if it didn't already hard switch up, that it had to. She was so clear that she didn't want to be the original Snow White character. And having seen the movie, Snow White grows up in rags and being forced to clean. She gets taken out into the woods by the huntsman and then told to flee. She flees and cleans and cooks for the dwarves, and then she eats an apple, and then she gets woken up. End of movie. So like, she had to. They had to change it crazily if Rachel Ziegler was going to be different than the original.
We already made Snow White and the Huntsman. That's already been a movie.
But who remembers that one?
Me. I remember it.
I remember it existed, and I think I saw part of one of them, but I don't remember the rest.
We don't
of
need to
them.
do it again because, like, the whole.
But this doesn't have the huntsman that important of a character in it.
I don't care. Snow White, her character, in essence, is she is good for goodness sake. Like, she is pure. It's not that just her skin is Snow White. It's that her heart, her soul is white as well. Because if you're black, you're evil. And no, but like the whole point is like, and they kind of tried to do this was like, I'm not going to kill the queen because I'm too good to do that. And so her whole point, like, she keeps harping on making pies for people and then never makes a fucking pie, which was in the original movie. But like her whole point, which is really dumb and stupid how they word it, is like, we should just give people pies. That will solve all the world's problems. Fucking stupid. But like, that's Snow White in a nutshell. Is she is pure goodness, that she can't even comprehend evil, or she can't comprehend killing somebody. She would never do that. She would never harm anybody because all she wants to do is love people, take care of people. That is Snow White, and that is why cleaning for some children, supposedly, is an important character trait for her. Not going, I'm gonna dance around while you clean for me, kind of stuff. Like, it's just a...
Hey, but then she knew they were men, and that's their job.
It's just so stupid that this version of feminism, because I don't want to say feminism as a whole is bad. I love feminism. I'm a feminist. But the version of feminism that preaches that being kind or helpful is bad because it's a traditional feminist or feminine trait is so stupid, because you don't have to make these kind of people into warriors. That doesn't make them better or more powerful. Her power was in kindness. That is a good trait that people need more of. And saying that that is a bad thing is so asinine.
Hey man, she was kind. It's just that a woman cleaning for adult men that she just met, that's sexist.
Well,
Or
then
cooking for them,
fucking
that's
tell it
also
in the
sexist.
correct order.
She got, a couple of things in there. Here's a dustpan. Here's a broom.
No, and that's what I'm saying. To have the scenes in the correct order so that she cleans before she knows who they are.
She was tired.
Why? She didn't do anything.
She didn't think they were children for some reason.
She didn't even point out that the chairs were small. She just walked in and went, oh,
Listen,
I'm gonna go to bed.
The chairs were for regular-sized adults in the original script. All right. They forgot to change that detail.
It's just terrible writing.
Well, like they kind of try to make her that way. At no point does she ever like try violence, and the only opportunity she has, she immediately just turns it around to, hey, like, I know you guys. I care about y'all. She doesn't care about y'all. Don't you want to join my side?
Yeah, but like,
I didn't love it, but like,
Yeah.
I get that's like her,
the problem was
the ideal of her.
is they changed stuff to say, oh, that version isn't good, because they didn't understand that version. And then they tried to preach a similar message, just not as well. It's like the way they changed the songs. The songs were good how they were. You didn't need to change them. But you said, oh, that's not good anymore. It needs our personal touch.
Yeah.
And you just made it dumber.
Listen, it's a modern age, man.
She was so dumb that she didn't even realize a guy taking an arrow for her in the chest wasn't a sign of love. She went, oh, he loves me? Also, that whole conversation, it was so weird, because it's like same party we were talking about before with the pretzels. They're dancing,
Yeah.
and then she sits down at the table, and so does this other actual real-life dwarf.
Yep.
And she goes, you and what's-her-name are good dancers. They're not dancing together. We never saw them dance together. So all you can take from that is, you two are, of the group, are good at dancing. I don't know why I'm complimenting just you and that girl, but I am. And he goes, yeah, we're just friends. I'm like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did that come from? I wasn't accusing you of anything. What the hell?
They're just friendly, just like that, just like her and the Prince Charming of the people.
Fucking Robin Hood and his merry men, more like it.
But hey, once he explained that he took that arrow for her.
Then it all clicked. Oh,
Yeah.
now he loves me.
Now was that the song where they eventually started singing together and she sang her consent to him to kiss her in their sleep?
There was consent in this version. That
Yes.
is one thing we changed for the better.
Yes. Listen, she sang that if she were ever, what was it like, any some sort of
If
like,
you ever find me sleeping, kiss me.
yeah, some sort of like sleep spell, just kiss me, wake me up.
Yeah.
I wish I could find the original lyric because it was there, but I
don't think it was quite that specific, but it was
it
something.
was kind of,
like-
it was like, if I'm ever asleep, kiss me, wake me up, some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't mention spells.
It was
though, I
affirmative
don't think.
consent.
It was consent.
Fine. There was
but
no
I don't think
word
it
of
was like,
spell.
hey,
That's why I want the
if
original
I ever
lyric.
eat a poisoned apple and I'm sleeping, kiss me on the lips. It wasn't that.
This is wildly off topic for a second, but you ever see It's Always Sunny?
Which part?
There's one where
Oh, yeah. We don't diddle kids.
you sang it the exact
I was
way.
doing that tone.
Yes, the exact thing.
You know?
Never, only with my wife. Never anyone younger than my daughter.
I think that's the exact thing we shouldn't do. I didn't realize I was doing that too until you brought it up.
It was perfect.
But yeah, let's get to the Queen. So, of course, everybody, when people talk about this movie, they talk about two things. They talk about Rachel Ziegler and the fact that she has hair on her back, which, by the way,
She has hair on her back?
like a normal amount a human woman would. But
was it like in the? I didn't
not
notice
in
this
this
at all.
movie. It was like a red carpet thing she was on, and there was a picture that went viral on like Twitter or whatever because a bunch of incels went, "Oh my God, she's got hair on her back." I'm like, if you have ever had sex with a woman, especially if she is facing away from you, you'll probably see some hair. It's not like a man's back, but people have hair on their bodies.
People got too much fucking time on their hands, man. That's just
People
crazy
don't
shit.
get laid enough is the problem.
I can see why.
If you've never touched a woman, you may think that's weird. So, anyway, had to get that out of the way. But also, people talk about that, and people talk about Gal Gadot and how bad of an actress she is. And I agree, she's not good. I think it's a little bit overblown at this point how bad she is, but she is certainly not good. But what really annoyed me in this movie is she's not good, but then she sings a song while she's transforming into that evil hag, which, like, I point out to you in this, like, the original scene is so creepy and so cool for a kid's movie where it's just like, oh, it's like kind of scary for a kid's movie, like, oh my God, Disney, chill. In this, it's a song number where she goes, I need this and this and this. All right, evil hag time. And then while she's singing, she goes like, and I have to put on this creepy voice. Never puts it on again after that. She just talks in her normal voice after that.
It was so much funny how much the voice broke again.
I was like, what the fuck? Just like use the creepy voice. And then she's talking to Snow White just normally. And granted, yeah, she looks different, but like, you know she's a witch. She does witch shit all the time.
Like you just had to hold it together for a couple extra minutes and then switch it up after the apple bite. Like that just
Yeah.
get someone else to do it if you can't
Also-
do the old lady voice the whole time.
Speaking of like things just being out of order or changed deliberately for no reason. So Snow White is already trying to leave. She's outside of the cabin when the old lady comes and offers her the apple. And she doesn't just say, here, you want an apple? I guess she is technically inside, but then she goes outside as she's trying to leave. But like, the original one, she's making a pie. She's making a goddamn pie. And then she's like, here, I have a bushel of apples. Don't you want to buy one? And she goes, oh, no, thank you. I'm good. And she goes, oh, come on. A pretty girl like you needs an apple. Here, I'll give you one for free. And she goes, okay, because she's kind. She doesn't want to be mean. She's not going anywhere. And so she's deliberately right there making food. She can't just be like, okay, now bye, I'll eat it later. She goes, all right, fine. And she's like, come on, take a bite. She goes, okay, fine. And so it's the kindness that does her in. It's her greatest strength and her greatest weakness. It's her kindness. In this, she's trying to leave, and she's like, all right, I need to go rescue Jonathan. And she goes, wait, while you're going, you should eat an apple on your way. And she goes, what? No. And she goes, come on, I knew your dad. And she goes, what? She's like, yeah, so eat this apple. If you're in the middle of leaving, and we've already established this version of her isn't nearly as nice as the other one, just say, okay, thanks, put it in your bag and leave. And then you're like, why the fuck? I don't want this.
But she said Papa. That was her father. she's like,
Stupid.
you know, this reminds me of you and your dad. And he's like, oh shit, my dad?
The whole dad thing was so dumb too. Like it's supposed to be a plot twist. It's like her dad disappeared, and like, yep, Queen killed her, or yeah, Queen killed him. And then they're like, you never learned the truth about your dad. I'm like, what? She did kill him, was the obvious understanding.
Right.
And then they go, you never learned the truth. I'm like, that the Queen killed him? Yeah, I knew that. But then they start talking later about how, oh, we think he's over here. So I'm like, oh, is that the secret? Is that he's still actually alive? And then they're like, no, the big secret? The Queen killed him. And you're like, yeah, I fucking knew that.
What was their explanation for him at the beginning of the movie? Was it like he went to war or something?
He
or
went off.
I forget why he went off, but I remember he went off and
remember.
just never came back.
I didn't give enough of a shit to
And
pay
yeah,
attention.
it kind of felt like if they really wanted to change this movie and get rid of the quote-unquote problematic areas of the first film, that they were going to change the true love kiss scene at least.
Yeah, that's what I said to you.
And
have
having
the dad come and kiss her on the forehead or something.
And that would have been an interesting twist, but no, true love came back anyway with the Prince Charming of the people.
Yeah.
But you know, see, this time he didn't just show up and wake her up. They saved each other constantly. They're on equal footing now.
And if you wanted to make this like interesting, because instead of having her get like she falls asleep and then she wakes right back up like in the original,
Yeah.
because this all happens in like 3 minutes, they pretend like they're gonna take a while because then they cut to Jonathan in prison. I was thinking the dwarves were gonna go bust him out and then he was gonna come back and there was gonna be scenes here, because also you're expecting for the Queen to die at some point running away from the dwarves, because that's how it's supposed to happen. And no, that doesn't happen. It's just you cut to Jonathan and you know the huntsman, and they go, what if we both pull on the chain? Never thought of that. And then pop, they're free, and then he comes here and they're still mourning, whistling while they mourn. And
yeah.
because that's just their new lifestyle now. They've got nothing better to do.
They don't go to work anymore, they
There's
just mourn.
no glass coffin, by the way, which is like, that's probably the second most important thing about this movie.
They work with rocks, not glass.
And glass is rocks.
They don't know how to change it into glass, okay? There's a whole process.
You gotta make it into sand.
Yeah.
You gotta heat it up, then you gotta. But and so then he kisses her, and then she wakes up, and it's like, so what was the point of pretending this was gonna take a while? If you wanted to add some real, actual depth to this, have scenes in between where they have to go do this and then go do that, and then you save her, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. Well, they can't do that because then that gives the men too much importance in the story, I guess. I don't know.
Listen. Snow White in the original film, outside of choosing to help the children she presumed they were, and she's got no agency, man. She needs agency in this one. It has to be her. She, you know, Snow White was in that prison as a child. She never thought about leaving. Just marrying the prince that one time. Maybe going to the castle.
Well, that's the thing,
now she's trying to leave.
That's
you
the
know?
other thing too that they really fucked up in this was the relationship between Snow White and the Queen in the original. Was Snow White thought the Queen loved her because once again Snow White's kindness is so blinding that she doesn't understand hate. So they're just living in the thing together. She's like doopa doopa doo, going about her life, everything's normal, and then the Queen just goes, I want her dead out of nowhere. Just goes, I want her dead because the mirror says she's prettier than you, which also wasn't true in the cartoon either, by the way. And so then the huntsman takes her off to kill her, and then he goes, the Queen wants you dead, and she's like, what? Where did that come from? In this, like, they were practically fighting each other already. We spent way too much time on how much they hate each other before this moment for you to act surprised that the Queen wants you dead. That's bullshit.
See-
you fucked that up.
See, Snow White, she's just too dumb in the original. She should have caught on. It said the Queen was so afraid of her growing beauty that she kept her in rags all the time and made her do chores and shit.
Yeah,
She should have known.
In the original, there was only 2 people in the castle. Somebody's got to clean.
Well, you know, it's a lot of it takes a lot of work to animate more people in a castle. All right, we got an infinite budget for extras in this one.
Stupid. Also, and then so the how did I forget? The huntsman comes back, gives her the box. She goes to the mirror to check.
That is
like,
the craziest.
and it's
shit.
like, oh, Snow White's still alive, just somewhere outside the kingdom. And she goes over to the box, opens it up, all casually. Apple. You didn't fucking look inside?
I swear to God, I thought she was gonna open it up and just be like, "Oh, that's a pig's heart."
Yeah.
That's not a human
When I
heart.
saw her pull it out, I was like, are they really going to show a heart in this movie?
That would have been extreme, but it would have been interesting. But no, it's just an
And
apple.
then I see it and it's red, so I'm like, that's a weird looking fake heart. And I'm like, it's a fucking apple. Which, by the way, they just pull Red Delicious off of trees in this universe. Like, with
We
no
need a red
genetic-
apple for the one scene, right? They gotta be everywhere. But like, that was the craziest
I don't
shit.
think Red Delicious apples existed when the first Snow White movie came out.
But like, she gives him the box clearly she explicitly says, "Put the heart in." Like, I know she didn't. I don't think she said, "I'm going to check," but like,
It's
I didn't
implied.
think she needed to say that. She's just gonna trust. Oh, you handed me this heart. There's not even a stain on there.
Yeah.
Not even
This
a
heart
bloody
smells
fingerprint.
kind of fruity for some reason. It's so dumb.
That
Everything about this movie is so painfully dumb.
That was absolutely the dumbest she was. Also, I love how the beauty gives her like a lot of magical power, but she seemed like she could just conjure up diamonds and roses, and then like
Yeah.
delete some roses, and that's about it.
So she's got this speech to Snow White where she's like, "You're like a rose. You're beautiful, but you're fragile. I'm a diamond. That's what the people need. I'm beautiful, but I'm strong." And then at the end, she like reiterates to the people, she's like, "Snow White is a rose. That's not what you want. Diamonds."
But like,
And it's like, if you're a townsfolk, you're going, what? The fuck does that mean?
listen. If she's saying she's
I
gonna
need some context here, lady.
listen, if she was saying she's gonna give us diamonds, they might have been on board. But she didn't just, make a necklace or make a priceless jewel for every. She makes a freaking dagger.
Yeah, and she goes like, "She's a rose. You don't want that. You want me.
The dagger.
Perfection." She what?
It's like clearly not gonna be on board with you killing her in front of them.
Yeah,
It's
and then
in the
she
crowd.
says to kill. Yeah, but like the whole thing. If you're townsfolk, you didn't hear that first speech, so you're just like, what? What are we talking about?
She's got a dagger now.
There were so many moments that I just went, what? They're like, I think I may have had more what's per minute than any other movie I've ever seen, including the worst movies I've ever seen. But like, at one point she's like, oh, it's right after that first speech. She takes her and she turns her toward a mirror. Not the mirror, just a mirror. And goes, all right, talk to your people. And then walks away. And it's like, huh? What was that? Why did we say that? Also, speaking of the mirror, by the way, the magic mirror in this can only answer one question.
That's all we need him to say.
All he's allowed to do, he's Soldier Boy, as we said, because all he can go is, you, to every fucking question.
Wait. He's more advanced than Soldier Boy, right?
He can also say,
Not you.
her, bitch. Because, the whole point of having a magic mirror is, it gives you all wisdom, but in this version, it's just like, hey, am I pretty or not? Yeah, you look good. It's just a mirror at that point, because that's what mirrors do anyway. Let you know what you look like. Jesus fucking Christ. I cracked it. Oh my God. It's just a normal mirror now.
Yeah, until the end.
Until the end, when she becomes fucking Dorian Gray. What the fuck was that? She didn't fall off a cliff or nothing. She smashed the mirror because the mirror said, nah, she's still alive. Therefore, still prettier than you.
Yeah.
Except for actually, I think that's when he says, she's not really prettier than you.
Oh no, that's when he explains that her beauty is truly from her inner beauty.
Yeah. He's like, she's
Yeah,
not
she has
really
none of that.
prettier than you. You're Gal Gadot. You're Wonder Woman. I get it. But she's not a bitch. So she's pro-Palestine, if we're being honest. And so she smashes the mirror, turns black, and then shatters. Hold on.
Hey, she turned charcoal, okay? And we are brown.
No, charcoal has gray in it.
This one reflects it.
And then gets sucked into the mirror, which then puts itself back together. And then Snow White just walks out into the other room like, I don't know what just happened.
Hey, Snow White, what happened to the queen? I didn't kill her. And she ran off.
Two people went in this room, me and the queen. Queen was alive when we went in. I didn't kill her. Now she's dead. You figure it out.
Listen. You all saw her change that rose into some ashes, into a dagger, all right? the Mirror-ator. Okay, what am I gonna say?
Like, I think the way the queen dies in the original is so cool. Like, it's so brutal.
I had completely forgotten that she had died
It's just
that
like
way.
the way, like the scream too. Which the scream is so
And
iconic.
then the boulder falls down. I presume it hits her. Like, I know we don't
I
see
thought you
it.
said boner.
But yes,
The
that
boner
too.
falls. But
You
no,
knocked
like,
the boulder off with the boner.
the scream scrumps is so iconic that they reused it a dozen times because it's so visceral, and her death is so brutal. I love that scene in the original. It's just so old school Disney, and then this, it's so desensitized and nothing. It's like, why did you think this was a better option? Why? Like, were you afraid to show death? There was a skeleton. Used a skeleton key earlier, by the way. Just fucking picked his lock in 2 seconds with the guy's finger.
Yeah, they kept that skeleton that was like reaching out for the water jug in there,
Yeah.
but they didn't keep the kick
I
the
didn't
jug
even
down
realize, yeah,
scene.
there's it was so poorly done, I didn't even realize. Because there's multiple shots they recreate exactly.
I wouldn't have remembered it if I
if
hadn't
you
just seen it. Yeah.
But yeah, there's multiple shots that are like, oh, this is a movie. You remember that movie? This is a movie. So I forgot about, the skeleton. But yeah.
And they eventually brought in the wishing well echoing too for a split moment.
Yeah, this movie sucked, dude. This movie is legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like, maybe top 10 worst movies I've ever seen. Which is impressive because I love watching bad movies, man.
See, but if I were to rank my top 10 worst movies that I've seen, I would probably have to exclude the ones that are so bad they're good.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm not counting those.
Yeah.
I love those movies.
I've got 3 that are guaranteed in there. This might crack it. I'd have to think
It's
about this
up there for me. This is one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever had to sit through.
Because, this wasn't worse to me than The Love Guru. It's still the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oof.
Yeah.
Never seen that. Never plan to.
That's for the best. I saw it in theaters. My dad fell asleep, and I've never been so jealous of him falling asleep. I literally watched that movie wondering, why the fuck did I want to see this? Oh, damn you, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Alba.
Yeah, that was the reason right there.
Yeah.
And hottest woman ever, and a guy I like the singing voice of.
Yep.
And they'll trick you.
Also named Justin, yeah.
No, is that a thing for you?
Yeah.
No,
Representation, man.
I just
We're-
liked him because he had a nice voice.
Well, I mean, I liked NSYNC too, but
Yeah.
I gravitated towards the Justins of the world.
Yeah, that's fair. So it's hilarious because, like, her way of winning over the people is she's like, "Hey, Paul, you used to be a farmer, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Matt, or whatever his name was?
She knew.
You were a baker, and then you, Dave, and you, Jason." Like, she just like looks at him like, "I don't remember you." Like, she's like, "You did this, you did that, and you. I remember you."
Shit. What was their Spartacus line?
I remember. No.
Yeah. It was like it was like remember
Yeah.
back then. It's like I remember.
I remember that.
I
I remember that. And like, and that's why I did. It was like Pepperidge Farm.
It's like remember back in the days when my dad was a peaceful king and
Yeah.
we used to come and
It
bring
was
apple
just-
pies to y'all.
Yeah. It's that's what I'm talking about with the dumb politics. Where it's like supposedly they had no army before, and everybody would just give each other stuff for free, and money wasn't an issue for anybody.
But this was a peaceful kingdom.
Okay, so then what happens when bandits or another kingdom comes along?
You get taken over. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
that's how it works. It's like, I don't think the evil queen was that evil. I didn't, other than her jealousy being a bitch, nothing else seemed to be that big of an issue. If the worst thing the queen did was make an army, I feel like she ain't that bad.
I mean, it's like
And like her torture, like that's the thing too. So it's like, oh, she tortures the people who do wrong, and so it's like, oh, you can't. That's a strange and unusual punishment. The strange and unusual punishment was putting a thief in prison. Oh,
hey,
putting him in the dungeon.
he was stealing because he was hungry, and his friends were hungry.
Okay, well, guess what you get
And
in,
it was
in
kind
prison?
of Robin Hood
Food
style.
and water. You get food and water in prison.
Not in this prison, as we saw with that one guy.
They seem perfectly fine. I don't know.
Yeah, no. That is still the funniest thing. I was like, make his screams ring out throughout the castle. And we have screams, just not his screams, because no one's going to touch him for the
Somebody
movie.
vaguely off screen screaming
So
something.
they just put him down there. Listen, we will get to you in like 3 weeks or so, man.
We have a long list of people to torture, and you are not
Listen,
cracking the top 20.
You are going to be in so much pain when we get to you.
You believe me?
I'm going to let that stew in you. Just think about the things we're going to do to you for 3 weeks.
You're an Eminem. With that stew in you. What I'm gonna do to you. Look what I'm planning. Oh God, yeah, it's so dumb. And then it's like, all right, fine, you're right. He stole from me, I'll steal from him. Strip him and hang him on the gate. And then you're like, oh God, he'll die. And then it cuts to him, and they took off his shoes,
His shoes
and
his,
one jacket.
his outer coat, yeah.
And then
like a hoodie.
him stringing to the gate is they tied his hands to a post, and he's just standing there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so literally anybody, and Snow White does, but anybody could come up and just untie him.
See, but then they'd be after the guards would be after them. Yeah.
The guards can see all. They're just a little delayed because. So Snow White comes across while she's cleaning. She's doing her Cinderella impression. She's cleaning and she hears something happening in the pantry. So she walks over, and he's stealing potatoes because the queen has great potatoes.
Of course.
Which I was like, is that an innuendo? He's like, love your potatoes. I was like, And then, so they're talking. And after 5 minutes of them talking, the guards go, there's an intruder in the castle. And it's like, how do you know? How do you know that there's an intruder in the castle? He's just, scrolling through the camera. Oh, shit! Security footage picked up a guy in the pantry.
Listen, they had seen him earlier, maybe, or a foot trap.
It was his lunch break. She was like,
let me get some potatoes.
In 15 minutes, I'll worry about that guy. Nobody else got it? All right, we got to get back inside for another movie. Yeah. We could keep talking about this for at least another hour.
I wish.
This movie sucked ass.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Has there been a good Disney live action of recent, since this new bouts of them?
No.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
People seem to, but I don't
Some
think so.
people have claimed Lion King was okay. Some people have claimed Jungle Book was good.
Jungle Book was much better than Lion King, but not that good.
I hated the Jungle Book. I hated it.
I did not hate it nearly as much as the Lion King, and I didn't like Jungle Book, but it was better than Lion King, and Lion King was atrocious.
Oh, yeah. That's what we had to think.
For 2 seconds.
We're gonna go back inside. See you guys soon. Thanks, guys.